Hola muchachos, welcome here. Firstly, shout out to Canadian Tire for selling ridiculously cheap fold-up chairs until my other dining room chairs come in. And shout out to my kids for already ruining these chairs with excess amounts of macaroni and cheese. Welcome here back to my channel. For today's video, I did my makeup a little extra, don't know if you can tell, but I thought for my wife talk, I might as well make myself look a little more wifey. Plus, I looked in the mirror today, I aged like 5 years overnight. I am so excited. I have like these wrinkles that suddenly came under my eyes and I was like, yes. For someone that gets mistaken as my 3-year-old's older sister, often I really appreciate the aging process. Now, I know later I won't, but for now, I'm digging this. I'm loving this. So anyway, that's why I have my, what was that? Like hit my makeup basket. That's why I have my makeup basket with me. This is literally where I store all my makeup. And if my assistant can bring in my drink, and by assistant, I mean Sarah from 2 minutes before I sat down. Almond milk, unsweetened, a little bit of maple syrup, warmed up, make it nice and frothy, peppermint tea bag, mix it around a bit, let it sit for a second. BC Haze. It's my take on the London fog. It's more of a green tea latte and it is so fantastic. Anyway, okay, gotta grab my phone. I asked you guys on my Instagram, which I will link down below, some questions you wanted me to answer as me just being a wife. I haven't been married for an extreme amount of time, almost 5 years now. I know people that have been married for like 60 years. So 5 years next to that doesn't seem like too much, but the amount that I have learned in that period of time, also with having 3 children, I do have some info to share. And in this video, I will be answering your guys' questions. I also decided to sit back at this table because it makes me feel professional and cool. And I like having this thing in front of me. Feels like we're doing a podcast. That sounds like a good idea. I should do a podcast. Anyway, these are my opinions. I'm not saying that you need to have this frame of mind or your marriage would work better if you did these things. This is just from my experience. Take everything that I'm saying with a grain of salt. And as always, the comment section is open. This is a conversation. So you guys go ahead. Any further info you want to bring about or answer some of these questions the way you kind of would, please leave it in a comment down below. They're very, very helpful to me and everyone else here. So long intro, classic Sarah Therese. Thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get started. These questions are just specifically totally G-rated wife questions. I also realize every time I ask for wife questions, there's a lot of intimacy questions as well. So that is actually my next video. I'll be answering your guys' intimacy questions. Another Christian girl talking about sex on YouTube. So look forward to that. How to fulfill the needs of your husband when you're so busy with work, study, and life. I like to think of it this way. I am so busy with catering to Kieran's needs and fulfilling his needs and feeding his heart and his soul that it's actually hard for me to have time for the rest of the things that come into my life. Now I realize when it comes to work, school, those are quite intense things because they do need a lot of attention. Those aren't things you can push aside so easily. The balance there is definitely hard, but in school and in work and in other duties, like if you're a mom, we're in that mom kind of frame of mind and it's hard for us to switch from being a mom to a wife when our husband comes home or while our husband is away working. It all comes down to balance and it all comes out to making time. If making time means less time for yourself, canceling some things that you usually do in order to serve and fulfill your husband's needs that much more, I guarantee you, you will have so much more satisfaction and you will be so much more fulfilled in your own life by doing those things for your husband. When it comes down to it, I'm a Christian lady. God comes first. My relationship with him comes first. And then it's Kieran. And then it's my kids. And then it's work. And then it's everything else that falls. But your focus should be on your husband. I think that is what makes the biggest difference. What to do when there's a flaw you can't tolerate in your partner, character-wise. Whoa. Kieran has a great character. He has a great set of morals. He loves me. He loves the Lord. It is so evident in his life, all of that stuff. But he is not perfect. And I married him realizing he is not perfect. And also realizing that I gotta stick to this and through this no matter what Kieran kind of throws at me. So in this committed relationship, when I see a flaw that really bugs me, I ask myself some questions. Is this actually a flaw? Like, is this flaw a sin? Is this something that is actually legitimately bad? If that were the case, I need to talk to him about it and bring some biblical things like the Bible and God's word into it. If you're not a Christian, you may actually find it a little more tricky, which is totally normal. I really lean on the Bible, and if you're in a non-Christian relationship, sometimes it's hard to know what to lean on, but still as a non-Christian, people are very smart and they know when something is right and something is wrong. You need to bring that to your partner and your spouse and talk about it. Things need to be talked and communicated about. And then on the other hand, sometimes Kieran's flaws are actually just normal things that he does that so happen to bug me. So it's not even a him problem anymore, it's a me problem. And sometimes I will totally go ahead and address it because it will drive me crazy. And he loves me and he will work to maybe drive me not so crazy. And then at the same time, I need to work just as much, if not harder, to accept Kieran and some of his flaws, as long as they are not planted in sin. What is something that you and Kieran have improved on in your marriage? Intimacy. Intimacy. That's all I can think of. Just think intimacy. I will discuss this in my next video, but for the first, 2-3 years of my married life with Kieran, I had a lot of guilt associated with intimacy. And it took a lot of effort on his part and mine, just mentally and emotionally, to get past that and to actually start enjoying intimacy because we love each other. And it's not for just baby making, or I just have to satisfy him so he'll leave me alone for the next couple days. Actually being in intimacy and enjoying it. Again, I will talk about that more in our next video. Not a wife, still too young for that, but would like to be. How do you prepare for those days? This is so practical, extremely practical. I shall take a sip of this and I will tell you. Please know how to make your husband food. This is the servant heart, servant woman, very traditional wife in me coming out to you on the screen. One of the best things that you can actually give your husband is a warm plate of food at the end of a work day. I can't stress this enough. I think it's very cool when women cook meals for their husbands. It's very artistic for me. I love making food. It's a huge way to show my family, beyond just my husband, but my family in general, that I love them and I want to take care of them. At the same time, I actually have some friends and the husband enjoys cooking a lot of meals and meal prepping. So that's actually kind of his way of taking care of his wife, like an extra thing that he can do. Kind of the traditional way, which I don't think should be so hated on. I think it's actually very cool. It works for a lot of people. And then something else, learn how to communicate properly. Learn how to deal with confrontation in a very respectful way. When it comes to your relationship with your husband, I feel like this is something you can prepare for now, whether you're in a relationship or not. Knowing how to properly communicate to someone, being very open, stating facts, and being, again, very respectful of them and such is cool. And I think if you can do that now before you even get into a dating relationship, you are really being set up for success in your marriage. Red flags in a relationship. I know of so many friends who have been in an abusive relationship, and this is what they tell me. Red flags in some sort of a dating relationship or even a friendship: over controlling, just wanting to control everything that you do, whether they're with you or not, just so overbearing, and you want to do these things and they're like, that is a huge red flag. That is abusive. Also, just continually texting and continually talking. Always need to know where you are, who you're talking to, being really on top of your relationship circle, being like, well, who are you with? Well, what did you talk about? Not in a sweet form of interest, but in a rude, overbearing, over unloving protectiveness. It's a little scary. Those are some huge red flags. Also, how do they treat their parents? I think that's actually huge. I would not have married Kieran if he didn't treat his parents well in front of them and talk about them well behind them. That was huge. That really spoke into his character. Do you both have the same parenting styles? No. I'm actually going over some questions for a podcast interview that I'm doing, and this was kind of one of the questions here. We do not, because Kieran is a feeler and I am a thinker. When Kieran feels something, he goes with that. When I think something and it's more of a matter of fact, I go with that. We both have the same ideas towards raising our children as being very moral, making their choices morally, and just being kind and loving. We both have the same goal for where we want our kids to go, but we have different ways of getting them there. Over time, we've actually realized that they really complement each other, and it's been working well. Best thing you learned from your mom about being a wife: letting things go. You don't need to have the last word. You don't need to make yourself feel all high and mighty, let it go. My mom will say things like, man, your dad did whatever, this and this. And she was like, it took me a lot to not say anything and just to kind of let all that go. I have learned from my mom to let things go, and I don't always have to say something, and I don't always have to get in the last word. Letting things go has been such a for me, maybe later bring it up in another conversation. Feels like it needs to be further addressed. I think it's a huge way that I can respect Kieran and that my mom respects my dad. I think we lost some lighting. Sorry, it's getting cloudy, mildly stormy outside. How do you balance time being a mom in order to also spend enough time with your husband or hubby? I love when people say hubby, it's so cute. Firstly, kids have an early bedtime. All my kids go to bed at 7 o'clock. First reason, they're actually very tired at that time. I try to make my kids very tired and it works every single day. Second reason, I'm not someone who puts my kid to sleep at 8, 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock because that is my time with Kieran and I am not willing to give it up. Putting my kids to sleep early guarantees me that I have a couple hours of just me and Kieran time. Also very important, me and Kieran every single day, we will come together and we call it couch time. My parents implemented this in their marriage and I highly benefited from it as a child. So we do couch time. Basically what couch time is me and Kieran sit down, we can sit down on the couch, that's usually our go-to place, and the kids are allowed to be around us and hang out with us, but they are not allowed to talk to us or try to play with us. They are to give us total peace so me and Kieran can actually just talk to each other one-on-one. This does a lot for our marriage and this also does a lot for the kids. It just gives them security of mine and Kieran's marriage, how much we love each other, and that we actually just want to spend time with each other right now and not them. My kids sleep better at night, they eat better, they're happier, they're emotionally way more stable when me and Kieran implement couch time. So those are just a few things that we do. Do you ever get people questioning your parent ability because you're a young mama? Yep, all the time. It's not my friends or my family. They have too much faith in me in how I parent my children. It's strangers. It's people that look at me with 3 kids and go, oh no, she can't do it, she can't do it. It does bug me, of course it bugs me, but I know that so far I've been capable to raise these children and I am continually, by God's grace, given the tools to continue to parent them alongside Kieran. People question my parenting all the time. But the way that my kids react to me when I tell them to do something in public usually will make people shut up. Today we went walking through a store and Ivy picked something up and I said, Ivy, please put that away. I don't want it to fall and break. Ivy, put it away. She looked at me, she said, yes, mama, and she came right to my side and kept walking with me. This woman was like, she actually said, I can't believe it. What good manners she has. Those are such awesome moments. I praise God for moments like that. How does hubby show that he's still excited about you after having kids and stuff? I make him, okay? I don't think this always comes naturally. Sometimes ladies will go through this period with their husband. He doesn't want to hang out with me. He's not excited about me. Guys, I think it's our job to make them excited about us. Spontaneous stuff is really fun. Wearing certain things, not just sexual things, but just wearing certain things can be really fun. Making different food, going different places, meeting different people. I make Kieran, hopefully, I hope it's working, excited about our marriage and about being together. And the best thing, Kieran says every single night when I come home from work, he says, that is the best part of my day. I'm excited to see you, Sarah. That feeds my soul. He shows me he's excited by wanting to talk to me and actually telling the kids, you know what, I just want to hang out with mama right now. Canceling plans so we can actually have some time together, and also not being fully invested in video games or TV shows. He's let all that go for me and to give me more time and just to be excited and have fun with me. That it is so cool. I love that. Are you and hubby always agree with regard? I understand what you're saying. Do we agree in regards to child education? I'm guessing you mean homeschooling our children, and yes. Kieran and me, the last thing we would ever want to do is put our kids into a public, private, or Christian school. That's just our opinion. I know a ton of kids that are in the school system. Works for their parents, fantastic. For me, I love to be so hands-on with my kids. I want to be involved in their education and homeschool them because I get to kind of relive going through school again. I'm very excited to relearn preschool to grade 12. That much info that I kind of lost along the way, I am now regaining, which I'm excited about. Also, I get to teach them how I want to teach them, and I want to introduce to them different things that otherwise maybe other people would. Kieran fully agrees with that because we both grew up being homeschooled. Best advice for the first year of marriage. Just got married this summer and would love to know. That's an awesome question. You guys are so good at these questions. Just in general, save your money. Save your money. Put money aside, put money into savings. Develop some sort of a financial security for yourselves. I think it is extremely important, especially because a lot of people get married into debt or get married and then start like getting in debt. Be financially stable. That's just a very basic kind of thing to say. As for just something you can do for your husband, every day has 24 hours. Say 8 hours are for sleep, you got 16 hours left over. Out of those 16 hours, 12 of them for your husband. Really think throughout my day, 12 hours for my husband. And that's not me being like, okay, I'm gonna serve him from this time to this time and the rest is for me, but it's the idea of, for most of my day, I'm not doing things for myself or living for myself. I'm living to please my husband and to serve him. Putting him first is huge. Dedicating so much of your day to him. Put so many of your efforts towards him. I mean, think about it. Like, you grew up and you learned all this stuff to really kind of prepare you for marriage in a lot of ways. And so many ladies, they get prepared and then they get married and then they drop it all. And they're trying to take care of themselves, thinking it's gonna take care of their marriage, when no, you need to take care of your husband. That's going to be taking care of yourself in turn, which will be taking care of your marriage. We're almost done. What do you do with your kids when you and Kieran are arguing or having a serious conversation? Never ever argue in front of your kids. I would even suggest to never argue. When I think of arguing, it's people back and forth and finger pointing. I don't recommend that. Me and Kieran actually don't argue. We've actually never argued. Some people may think that's weird. We have had serious, deep emotional conversations, but neither of us are fighters. We don't like to get into that. As for a serious conversation, when we're with the kids, that's kid time. That's family time. That's me and Kieran lovey-dovey time. That's not serious conversation time. I never want to put my kids into the position where they're looking at mama and papa and seeing us have a huge disagreement over something. I want my kids to always see me and Kieran as a team. It's not a big deal for them to see that we have disagreements, and there's a lot of ways that we can show the kids that we still love each other and respect each other in those situations. But really, if we're having like a hard, serious convo, kids are not present. Kids are in bed, kids are having quiet time, kids are in other rooms. We are very smart with how we talk and when we talk. It hugely affects your kids. Last one, favorite Bible verses that pertain to being a good wife. And I know everyone says this, Proverbs 31 is where it's at. If you don't read that often, stop. It is your code book. It is your guide to how you're supposed to live your life as a wife. In it, it talks about the wife preparing her household for the day. I just have to say, that's one of my favorite things in all of scripture. The woman does not wake up and does this stuff for herself and this stuff for herself and this stuff. She wakes up and she prepares her household. Her husband trusts her to do so. I don't think it's wrong to wake up and take care of yourself. I am someone who wakes up, and I like to work out, sometimes shower if it's an intense workout, but I do wake up early because I am able to prepare for my household. I clean, I put things together, I do laundry, I do chores. I wake up at 5, if not earlier, every single day, so I have the ability to do this. I'm not saying everyone has to wake up at 5, it's just that's how I work this into my life. Or even before you go to bed, cleaning things up, getting things ready and tidy and beautifying your house for the next day, taking care of what you have so it will properly benefit your children and your family is very cool. And I think about that all the time, and how in all of that, in Proverbs 31, her husband trusts her to do these things and then some. It's very cool. Proverbs 31, if you're a wife, if you're a Christian or not, I highly encourage you to read it, and I will put a link down below to that passage. Thank you guys very much for watching today's video. We completely lost our lighting. Like, we're about to get hit with an insane storm. Real life stuff, man. This is just how it goes. Thank you very much for watching, and be sure to subscribe or just stay tuned for my next video. We're gonna be talking about intimacy, and it's gonna be intimate. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. I will see you all in my next video. Bye!